Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham Kadash, and Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father's true name, whom the world not to cause God, and Yahushai is the name of the Heavenly Father's Son's true name, whom the world not to cause Jesus Christ, and giving double honors unto the apostles and elders of great those who taught me this truth, and shalom unto the sincere Akiam around the world, teaching this truth diligently and sincerely. And once again, I go into I go into the current war that NATO is having against the bear, that's Russia. And we all know in the scriptures they are referred to as Gog, from the land of Gog, that's the Russians. And it's been prophesied by Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai that these very people would be the ones responsible for the complete demise of Babylon the Great, aka United States of America. And we see what's going on there between the EU and the Russians. Currently, the EU and the Russians are enemies, and the EU are doing everything in their power to, destroy the Russians. But we know, according to prophecy, that will never come to pass, because the Lord has a purpose or has a special plan for the Russians, to use them to bring about the demise of Babylon the Great. And so I'll go straight ahead and then play this video, because we see things are heating up between the Russians and the EU nations. Right now, it seems like America is trying to back off and then call a ceasefire between the Russians and the Ukrainians. But one thing you need to know about these devils, you can never trust them, and the Russians too shouldn't completely trust Babylon the Great, because they are naturally devils. And so I'll go straight ahead and then play this video, and it's fair use, only for educational purposes only.
We thought that we would quickly become members of the so-called civilized family of European nations, generally the civilized Western family. Today, it turns out that there is no civilization there, only complete degradation. But no matter. Back then, it seemed that this was not good, and we would become a full, equal part of this family. Nothing like that happened. You see, the matter is, nothing like that. We did not become any equal part of this family. No, on the contrary, Russia continued to be pressured from all sides, and moreover, more and more. Practically everything was decided in relation to Russia from a position of strength. They patted us on the back, invited us to various events, but the West pushed through its interests towards Russia precisely by forceful means, including armed ones. How so? Supporting separatism and terrorism was demonstrated and carried out by armed means. Terrorists were supplied with weapons, money, and provided political and information support across the field. What was that? Economic restrictions were applied. This is also forceful pressure. And what pressure? I remember very well personally when we said, well, how come we are obliged to protect our country from terrorism? And we were told, no, you do what you want, but this cannot be done, that cannot be done. Otherwise you won't get any loans. Otherwise you won't get any extensions there and some preferential regimes. We aren't demanding anything special from anyone. We insist simply on the fulfillment of the promises given to us. It was publicly stated that there would be no eastward expansion of NATO. Well, so what? They didn't care. One wave of expansion after another. We are not demanding anything special. I repeat again, we insist on the fulfillment of the promises given to us. We did not start the war in 2022. It was the destructive forces in Ukraine with the support of the West, just the West itself, that unleashed this war. We are only trying to end it, to stop it. Initially, we tried peaceful means, negotiations in Minsk, as you remember, And then we were forced to include the military component because we understood that we were being deceived. Everyone believed that in a short period of time they would destroy Russia, disintegrate it. And the European piglets immediately joined this work of the previous American administration in hopes of benefiting from the disintegration of our country, to return something that was lost in previous historical periods, and to try to take revenge, as it has now become obvious to everyone. All these attempts and all these destructive plans in relation to Russia completely failed. Russia has regained its status of full sovereignty. Russia has become in every sense of the word a sovereign country. We regained this status, including to a significant extent with your participation, with the participation of the armed forces. The nuclear shield is more modern than the nuclear component of any official nuclear power. How modern is it? More than 80%? 92%? 92% modernity of our nuclear forces. Well, there is no such thing in any country, not in any nuclear country in the world. We have new means of attack, new weapons appearing. No one else in the world has this, and it won't appear soon. I mentioned them, we know it's the Vanguard and the Storm Petrel. The troops are completely different, and they are invincible. Such an army does not exist in the world. It simply does not exist. Yes, the armed forces of Ukraine are going through the crucible of military actions, but unfortunately for them, the Ukrainian statehood is collapsing. It can be seen by the golden toilets. Similarly, the armed forces are degrading. This is indicated by the increasing number of deserters. Only criminal cases for desertion in Ukraine are over 100,000, and the number of deserters is calculated in hundreds of thousands overall. This is a sure sign of degradation. Our armed forces are on the rise. We, as before, are ready to negotiate and are ready to resolve all the problems that have arisen in recent years peacefully. The administration of the United States of America demonstrates such readiness, and we are having a dialogue with them. I hope the same will happen with Europe. I want to thank you for the combat work of 2025 and express confidence, hope and confidence that all the tasks facing the country will be solved.
And there you have it. So we see, because we know according to prophecy, you see what they are trying to do is they are trying to use NATO to establish their nuclear missiles in order to, have a shorter response time when that time really comes, so that they will be able to have an advantage over Russia. That's the minutes for the nuclear missiles to be launched, and to take a shorter time for the nuclear missiles to, when launched from, say, Ukraine to Russia, to be a very short, the response time, and then the Russia's response time would be, at a disadvantage. So NATO wants to build these nuclear missiles closer to their base or to their country. That's why they are trying to bring in Ukraine into all this trouble that they are going through. All these wars is only because they want to get closer to Russia, establish nuclear missile bases over there. And Russia is not having any of that. And according to prophecy, going straight to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38. And this is the Lord Yahushua speaking. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I'll bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, all of them with shield and helmet, and Goma and all his bands, the house of Togoma to the north quarters, all his sons and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself thou, and all thy company that are assembled unto thee. Be thou a guard unto them. And so, this, the Lord, because USSR used to be a serious threat, after the World War II, but after some time they withdrew. The Lord weakened them by allowing them to break up and then weaken. But later on in say in the 2000 back onwards, the Lord of hosts started to put that spirit on them. Then that's the hook that he has put on them to come back to their old nature of USSR, and even more, because right now they have the most lethal and most modern military weapons in the world, because they are Edomites. So definitely the Lord of hosts will bless them with the best of weapons, and that's what the President Putin was talking about, that they have those modernized weapons, and if they are pushed into a corner, they would have no choice but to unleash all this. And because of this, all the allies around the world that with Russia would band together, and Russia will serve as their protector and their he would furnish them with modern weaponry, and also would protect them when that time will come. And we see that fastly approaching, and because we already seen how Iran has so many so many impressive missile programs. And who do you think gave them that technology? First and foremost is the Lord of Hosts, using the Russians to teach the Iranians how to do these missiles. And you saw how they use it on the small hearts over there. So you just imagine how much more Russia will be able to display their power when that time really comes. And as a result, this is what's about to go on, because Babylon the Great really think they are really at the top, but they really aren't all that. And I'll read this: "Behold, I'll stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it." Exactly, because a time come when these Russians will see that these devils, they've done too much. They are bullying and destroying many people on the earth, to the point that whatever sweet deal that America is trying to offer the Russians, they will reject it completely and say that these people, they deserve to be wiped off the face of the earth. And that's what this is talking about. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon the Great, Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahushai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And so this is the fate that awaits these devils in Babylon the Great. I mean, you see how Trump is accelerating. We hope that the Lord uses this man to accomplish so many things that would kick in or bring in or accelerate the remaining prophecies, chiefly the MOTB, World War III, and so on and so forth. And so we're only waiting on the Lord to do all these things, because prophecy needs to at the right time. That's when the Lord will allow the prophecies to be fulfilled. So we only need to wait. And so I end today's lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto our Heavenly Father Yahweh Basham Yahushua Bashadokakdash. Shalom, shalom.